Have you ever done your job right, yet felt shame when blame searched for you? Have you ever stayed polite all night, while respect went to louder people anyway? Stay with me until the end. In a small industrial town, there lived a night hospital janitor named Ethan. Ethan entered the hospital after sunset, when the air smelled like bleach and burnt coffee. He pushed a rattling cart through bright hallways that made every smudge look like failure. Outside, his old car sat in the lot with a dead heater, and he counted every dollar twice. 2 months earlier, he had been fired from a grocery job after one public complaint, and he never forgot it. So he made a vow that sounded safe because it asked nothing brave from him at all. He would be easy to manage, he would stay quiet, and he would never become anyone's problem again. In his pocket, a small black notebook pressed against his ribs, still unopened and still unused. At first, the vow seemed to work, and that made it more dangerous than fear ever was. When nurses rushed past, Ethan stepped aside, smiled quickly, and swallowed every sharp word. His supervisor liked him, because quiet workers do not create meetings, questions, or paperwork. Ethan started moving faster each week, chasing approval the way tired people chase sleep. One night, Marla, the charge nurse, walked by, glanced at his blank notebook, and said nothing at all. Ethan heard her silence like thunder, and he did not know it was a warning. The first blow came on a rainy Monday, when the emergency room filled faster than staff could breathe. A visitor tracked water across the tile. Ethan rushed to mop, and he placed a caution sign with trembling hands. Still, a man stepped wrong, slid hard, and shouted that housekeeping was trying to kill his father. Ethan pointed at the sign, apologized anyway, and watched phones rise as people recorded his face. Later that night, an incident report appeared on his cart, and his stomach turned cold with dread. He thought the worst was over, but the week had only started. On Thursday, a patient's family filmed a restroom mirror with one smear and demanded a manager immediately. Ethan was not assigned to that restroom, but his badge made him the easiest target in the hallway. In the break room, his supervisor placed a warning paper on the table and waited for Ethan to flinch. The paper said one more complaint would end his job, and the room was so quiet it hurt to breathe. Ethan opened his black notebook for the first time, and the empty pages felt like a sentence. He stared at that blank proof, and he finally understood how close he was to losing everything. Near the end of shift, Ethan mopped outside the ICU, where every footstep sounded careful and tired. Marla watched him work for a full minute, then spoke in a voice that did not beg or blame. Marla, effort without proof is invisible, and invisible work is easy to accuse. Ethan tried to explain that he stayed quiet to avoid trouble, but Marla shook her head slowly. Marla, quiet is fine, but silence is not safety when your name is on the badge. She gave him a measurable test that could survive rumors, bad moods, and unfair supervisors. For 7 nights, he would complete 3 checks, then log the time, the place, and the detail. Dry the corners, restock the wipes, and report hazards in writing before you leave any area. Marla leaned closer and added one line that felt like a cold hand on his shoulder. Marla, if you want respect, stop hoping for it and start documenting it. Ethan nodded, but as he walked away, he wondered what would happen when the next crisis hit. On night 1, Ethan forced himself to slow down, even while his mind screamed to hurry. He dried the corners twice, counted the supplies, and wrote the time with steady letters. A nurse glanced at him, sighed loudly, and said he was wasting minutes while patients were waiting. A coworker laughed and asked if Ethan was writing a novel, because cleaning was supposed to be simple. Ethan felt heat climb his neck, but he finished the 3 checks because the rule was now non-negotiable. When he closed the notebook, he realized the hard part was not cleaning, but staying calm while judged. He pushed his cart forward, and he hoped the notebook would not turn into a target. On night 4, Ethan found the same small leak near a utility door, and he reported it again in writing. Maintenance still had not arrived, and that delay made the hallway feel like a trap. A new hire rolled a linen cart too fast. The wheels hit a wet patch, and sheets spilled everywhere. A family shouted. Someone yelled that housekeeping caused it, and Ethan's supervisor rushed in with anger ready. Ethan felt the old reflex to apologize first, because apologies used to end danger quickly. Instead, he opened his notebook, showed the earlier entries, and spoke with a steady voice he barely recognized. "Marla, read the timestamp and tell me who ignored the hazard report." The supervisor's face tightened because proof changed the story in front of witnesses. Ethan walked away shaking because doing the right thing had almost made the supervisor hate him. He went home before sunrise, and he wondered if courage would cost more than silence ever did. By the end of the 7th night, the notebook stopped feeling like a shield and started feeling like a spine. Nurses stopped snapping, "Where are the wipes?" because his cart was stocked before panic arrived. Marla began greeting Ethan by name, and that simple respect warmed him more than praise. Then a safety review reopened the leak incident, and Ethan expected blame to circle back again. Marla placed Ethan's dated pages on the desk, and the room went quiet for the right reason. The administrator asked why maintenance ignored 2 reports, and Ethan's supervisor stared at the floor. For the first time, proof spoke louder than rumor, and Ethan walked out still employed. Ethan did not become famous, and he did not suddenly turn into a different person overnight. He became reliable, and reliability is how ordinary people earn respect without begging for it. His change was not a speech, but a habit repeated when he was tired, anxious, and unseen. The black notebook in his pocket held more than notes, because it held a pattern that could not be denied. If you feel replaceable, choose one small check you can repeat for 7 days and write it down daily. When your effort has proof, your confidence stops shaking and people stop testing you. So tonight, log your 3 checks with time and place.